So I hate to break it to you, but you guys are still exploiting Britney Spears. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, hi, my name is Zhariya Smith, and I typically make commentary videos just like this one. So, if you guys happen to like that, or you happen to just like my gorgeous face, make sure to subscribe down below and hit the notification bell to get notified every single time I post, which happens to be on Mondays and on Fridays. And you might be asking me right now, Zhariya, why are you talking so quietly? That is because it is 11 o'clock at night. Today's candle is French Country. Pause for my dog drinking water. Okay, today's candle is French Country Vanilla. I love this candle very much, as always. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about Britney Spears. And I know this is kind of contradictory to the title of the video, which I don't know what I'm going to title it yet, but I'm pretty sure I know what I'm going to title it. And pretty much, Britney Spears has been exploited so much throughout her entire career, to the point to where she had a public mental breakdown, had to constantly go through different treatments, was forced into a conservatorship, and now, all of these years later, we're still exploiting Britney Spears, but in a different way. So that's what I'm going to be talking about in today's video. This is kind of more of a ranty video than an informative video, because some of you guys tell me that you enjoy my more ranty videos than my informative. I'm going to tell you guys about a topic type energy. So today is one of those videos. So, roll title card.
I'm not perfect, I'm human.
What do you think it'll take to get the paparazzi to leave you alone?
I don't know. I don't know.
So while I did say this video wasn't going to be entirely informative and like research based, I will say, if you don't know who Britney Spears is an American singer, songwriter, dancer, actress, and a lot. This girl has done pretty much everything in life, and she was kind of influencing like the teen pop type vibe in the 90s with her song Baby One More Time, which is still an iconic song to this day. I was listening to it actually in the car literally today, but she was deemed the princess of pop, and as you know, she had been in many things. Britney Spears has been a prominent singer, songwriter since the late 90s, and I think that we should talk about just how important Britney Spears is. Britney Spears was, you know, she's a solo artist, and this was kind of about the rise of boy bands and girl groups and all that stuff, and Britney kind of stood out. She was very young, she had a very innocent little vibe going about her, even though she said, I'm not that innocent. It was the same vibe, you know. And the thing about Britney Spears is that she is so like unbelievably talented, and one thing that we all know Britney Spears for is her little like baby voice. But if you ever heard a video of her actually singing like with her actual voice, this girl had like a deep like alto voice, and I think it was either like a producer, vocal coach, whatever it is that made her change her voice to be what it is today. But that is crazy. Britney Spears has 2 sons. She's currently dating someone at the moment, and she's currently right now battling for her rights, which, why would you need a battle for your rights? Ever. I feel like it's kind of a given. But Miss Britney Spears is currently in a conservatorship, which means that she has a conservator, and that means that this conservator is pretty much in charge of her entire life. And down to the court case that she recently had, it was to the point where she wanted to get her IUD taken out, and the people in charge of her will not let her go to the doctor to get her IUD taken out because she wants to have more children, which, you know, crazy, right? And from my understanding, conservatorships were not meant for 40-something-year-old women. It was meant for like elderly people or people who were on the brink of death. So why was a 20-something-year-old being forced into a conservatorship? I don't know. I wish I had the answers. But yeah, so that is who Britney Spears is. Next, I want to talk about kind of the start. I will get into the exploitation of Britney Spears, but I do want to talk about just like the kind of resurgence of Britney Spears getting talked about on like a huge scale, right? So, New York Times presents made a documentary, and it was called Framing Britney Spears, and this was basically talking about the Free Britney movement that has been going on for, I believe, the past year or so. It started, I feel like I remember seeing it mostly during like COVID and stuff like that. But the Free Britney movement was basically to say free Britney Spears from her conservatorship. It was unfair, unjust. She was trapped, essentially. Like, imagine being almost 40 years old and you can't even go outside of your house without permission. You know, like, that's like not okay. The documentary highlights how Britney Spears was kind of forced to uphold her perfect little country girl like persona, pressured into this role. She was being overly sexualized by the media, even though she was supposed to be a good girl. The media would attack her, like the tabloids that were coming out when Britney Spears was like, well, still now, but like the tabloids that were coming out about Britney were honestly, like, I make YouTube videos, I put myself out there on the internet. If someone wants to harass me, I guess you're free to harass me, but I just could not imagine on that huge amount of scale of people watching my every single movement before technology was even like a huge thing. This is like 2002, 2007, like iPhones were like barely a thing yet, you know? There was a specific example in this that really disgusted me, was when a talk show host asked her if she was a virgin, which virginity is a concept and literally doesn't exist in the first place. But why would you ask a young girl that? It's kind of like, you know how they talk about like you get the ick? Like, that gave me the ick. Like, that's kind of like gross, you know? People have asked her about her breast size, about her past relationships with different men, and specifically Justin Timberlake, which I have a whole issue about that whole situation that I don't even think I want to get into in this video. I love Justin Timberlake, but like, man, he screwed her over. And Cry Me a River is a good song though, so I guess, you know, you win some, you lose some type of vibe. The documentary also just like truly pinpoints and kind of like sheds a light on how horribly Hollywood treats women. But Britney Spears was just on a whole other level. Like, Gabby Hanna tweeted this, and Gabby Hanna, I don't know how I feel about her at this particular moment. Well, I know how I feel, but I'm not gonna, you know, say anything. What Gabby Hanna actually tweeted, which I kind of agree with, was that Britney Spears was the 2007 version of cancel culture. And while cancel culture literally in its current form does not exist, it's more so accountability culture. I can see the vibe because it's like Britney Spears was getting canceled, but not canceled in the essence of losing her platform, but canceled in the essence of people were literally taking every single little thing that she did and like weaponizing it against her, like harassing her, berating her simply for existing. And while I do feel like that when she got in the car and had her child like in the passenger seat, like without a car seat, I don't like that. But I also happen to live in the South, and in the South 10-year-olds drive Toyota Corollas, so I feel like it's kind of a raising type thing, but I also think it's really dangerous to endanger your young child, even if you're used to it. I don't think it's good now. Like, I don't think it's okay now. Like, if a relative does that, I really will like look down on that, because I'm like, you should protect your kids at all costs. But it showed how what women have to endure, but like to an extreme inflated level that Britney had to deal with for all of the, like, what is it, for the past like 20 years she's been having to deal with this, maybe even longer. And it also talks about Britney Spears' 2007 public breakdown, which I've seen people dress up as Britney Spears from 2007. I've seen people be like, I shaved my head like Britney Spears, and it was a whole thing. And people were like, oh, Britney shaved her head because there were drugs in her hair, and she wanted to get her kids back, and she had the umbrella, and she was trying to break the windows of whatever car, you know. And I just hate, I know it's 2007, and I know that like times were different, but I just wish that someone could have been like, hey, let's talk about this from a mental health standpoint. You guys publicly harassed this woman. She could not go outside without being bombarded by paparazzi. She couldn't go into a store in the checkout line because all the magazines had her face on it, talking about how fat she was, or her boob size, or who she slept with, or her doing drugs, or her sleeping. Like, it's so stupid. Like, and I get celebrities put themselves out there. I put myself out there. I'm not a celebrity, but celebrities put themselves out there, which means you're a public figure. As Trisha Paytas says, people are allowed to speak in public figures. I get it. But I think that it was to an extreme level to where it was like dangerous. Like, I think any person would have had the same reaction. Like, I don't think Britney Spears is somehow different than how any other person would have reacted. And I, will say there is some like white privilege stuff in there, but I'm not even going to talk about it because there's no point. I'm not going to make this about Britney Spears. But I will say that it is interesting to think about how Britney was treated. Really, the documentary pinpointed Britney's conservatorship, how she got to where she did, and there are just so many like talk show clips and clips from her interviews and her breaking down crying, and it honestly like hurts. And I wish Britney would have been able to make a comment on the documentary, but the conservators, in my opinion, allegedly would not let her comment on this, because if the person is in charge of her entire life, the conservator can also deny her from being able to do documentaries and deny her from being able to speak on stuff like that because they have full control of her, like how they're monitoring her social media, which was scary. Like, I remember seeing clips of her on her Instagram of her being, people like, oh, if you need help, like, wear red, and she'd wear red in the next video, or like all that stuff. It was just really scary to see. But documentary, in a nutshell, showed how Britney Spears got to her downfall and how she's now being forced into a conservatorship that she does not want to be in, and talks about her family and how her family sucks, and just all of that stuff. So it's a good documentary. I would definitely recommend you watch it. If you don't have Hulu, you can watch it illegally. I shouldn't promote that, should I? Well, it's not technically illegal because you're not distributing it, you're just watching it. Don't listen to me. Either way, Britney Spears wants me to talk about the exploitation of women in Hollywood. Now, as a woman, not in Hollywood, but as a woman who wants to be an actress, if you don't know, I want to be an actress. Hi. If you're a casting director, all jokes aside, I want to be an actor, and it's really hard seeing stories of actors and actresses going through so much crap, and women just, or even like women, female presenting people, I will say, are just treated so horribly. And I have a video, I believe, on how Black women are treated in film, and you can definitely watch that. It's a lot more detailed and informative, and I made it I think almost a year ago, so I look a little bit different, but information is still good. But women are exploited so much in media. So Natalia Taylor recently made a video about Brooke Shields and how Brooke Shields was so heavily exploited and sexualized, and it is really disgusting because you really should not be taking a 10 to 14-year-old girl and making her pose naked for a magazine cover. That's gross. But women are exploited so horribly, and also women get scared to speak up. That's why there are so many high rates of people doing stuff to you don't want to do to them, because women are scared to not speak up, or they're scared to speak up, rather. Similarly to being Black, like, you're scared to speak up, you're scared to deny a role. Like, there are so many times where actresses have been put in stuff and been told to get naked, or have been like scammed and have to do something that they don't want to do, and it's really scary. And women, like I said, this is like a video that's like me talking about all my other videos, but I have a video about the male gaze versus the female gaze. I will say in that video, before you watch it, I mentioned blue is the warmest color, and I say that's a female gaze film. It is not. I just watched it when I was 13, and I should have clarified that, and I should have changed that, but I didn't, and I apologize for that, genuinely. I don't want to spread false information. That film was not female gaze, literally at all. But women are treated so horribly in film. I do want to just note that Britney Spears is not the first case, she's not the last case, and the people are getting exploited right now. Literally today I was getting dinner and I saw JoJo Siwa and Charli D'Amelio on Family Feud, which is crazy. Charli D'Amelio, I'm granted not to the same level, but like young girls are so heavily exploited in Hollywood and in the media and sexualized, and it is so horrible. We hate that. Lastly, I want to talk about the topic. I want to talk about, and I want to make this the last little bit of the video because I like to rant, and also because I wanted to give you guys some context as to why I'm saying what I'm going to say, and that is that we are still exploiting Britney Spears. Now, like, and I wouldn't say it's a negative exploitation either, because what's the definition? Yeah, okay. So the first definition of exploitation is the action or fact of treating someone unfairly in order to benefit from their work, which is not the definition I'm utilizing today. I'm using the action of making use of use and benefiting from resources. And I do think that people are trying to spin around the whole Britney Spears thing. Literally, like Us Weekly, or is it US Weekly? I don't care. They posted, like, they did like a little tabloid cover. They're like, oh, saving Britney Spears. Like, and I'm like, bro, you were the same magazine that was talking trash about her like all those years ago. And I understand, like, you know, it's good for people to change their perspectives. I get it. I honestly invite it because I'd rather someone change their mind and clarify on themselves. But you can't ignore contributing to what you did. Now, when I say exploitation, I do not mean in a negative way. Though it kind of is, because people are still using Britney Spears' name for clout. Hate the word clout, but there's no other word that I can use right now that the teens are gonna get. But people are using Britney Spears' name for clout. They're talking about her so much, and right now she's going through like court. Like, she literally did like testimony the other day. She's constantly doing stuff, and I feel like people, it's like one thing to like report on Britney Spears and be like, hey, this is what Britney Spears is doing right now, but it's like, it feels like I'm getting the same vibes of like 2008 like Britney Spears like tabloids, and those tabloids are still being made. Like, obviously there was one about Megan Fox's thumbs for some reason, but on Twitter we see Britney Spears this, Britney Spears that. On Instagram, Britney Spears, Britney Spears, Britney Spears. Snapchat, freaking TV shows talking about Britney Spears. And yes, I understand raising awareness is so good and so great, and I honestly think that by raising awareness of Britney Spears is what made her get the courage to be able to go to court and try to end her conservatorship. So I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I am saying it is the same. It is equal. What is it? Congruent? I'm going to say it's congruent, but I could be absolutely wrong. I haven't taken math in like 3 years. Yeah, like 3 years. But they're congruent. They're the same. Exploiting Britney Spears for her breakup with Justin Timberlake is the same like level of coverage of Britney Spears being covered for her court cases.
I'm basically trying to say that, like, I have no issues with people covering Britney Spears, but I do think that people are still using her, and people are still using her likeness and whatever for like clicks, and they're not actually looking forward to help her, you know, just if that makes literally any sense.
And it's not like I appreciate news, like, media's exposing Jamie Spears and exposing Lynn Spears and exposing Jamie Lynn Spears, which I realize that sounds like a tongue twister, but they're all 3 separate people. I promise. And we can see even in the documentary, like, the documentary helped so much. It raised so much awareness, and I love raising awareness for things, but we're still talking about her so abundantly much.
Basically, people are still profiting off of her pain and like hardship. So, like, yeah.
And honestly, I can get why big YouTubers, well, Shane Dawson, but how Shane Dawson talks about how he doesn't like watching videos of himself because he gets self-conscious. If a person made a video about me, God, I would panic. like if someone did like that video where that guy was like exposing deaf noodles, and if someone did like exposing Zhariya, oh my God, I would die. I try my hardest not to offend anybody, I promise. And if I do offend someone, I apologize. I always will. Like, I will acknowledge that I am wrong, and I will try to educate myself if I am. But I get it. I understand people don't want to be talked about. And I get, does this make sense? Am I making sense right now? It's also like really, really late, and it's now 30 minutes have passed since I started filming this, so it's really, really late now. But We're exploiting Britney Spears, but I still don't think it's a bad exploitation. Does that make sense? But I hope it does, because this video would literally make no sense otherwise. But yeah, so that was my video. I hope you guys liked it, and if you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up, because it really, really helps my channels like mine. My eyes are like shutting, like I'm like falling asleep right now. Like the video, I already said that. Subscribe if you like my videos. Subscribe to me. Look at my community page. I always post wacky stuff on there now. It's like my own personal like Tumblr blog. Like I love it, and it's giving me very much 2014 vibes. Cut to my video. My eyes are squinting. They're like falling. Okay. Yeah. So, let me know your opinions on Miss Britney Spears. I actually really like to know. And if you think that if this news coverage of her, this extreme amount of news coverage of her is a good thing or a bad thing. So yeah, make sure to stay happy and stay healthy, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye guys.